Good morning, good morning, good morning. This Big Mark coming at your face with the real. You know I gotta keep this thing pumping and jumping. Yo, like I said, I'm pumping this thing up. I am getting relentless because of Charleston White. He showed me clearly how to spare not, and neither have ye pity. If y'all want to look him up, I'm giving that nigga props. Excuse me, that brother props because he's very unorthodox the way he's doing the right thing. He's ruthless by the way he's doing the right thing concerning gangs. These rappers having influence over our children. And he calls them street niggas. I'm going to call them hoodlums. Which I am by heart. Which I am by nature. But I don't have to be in a gang to be that. And I'm going to show you on my videos. I'm going to do my first video on gang banging. 1978. Eisenhower High School in Rialto, California. The first Crip gang was the Playboy Supremes. It was started by a brother from the LBC named Byron. I forget Byron's last name, but he had with him Pat Matenzik and his brother Avery Matenzik. These boys was from the LBC, possibly from the east side. But they popped. Them boys brought pop in the Redlands. Them boys was the first poppers, because pop locking and gang banging kind of went together, you know what I'm saying? But the Playboy Supremes was the first Crip set in Rialto, California. I passed out the blue cards that Byron gave me to other brothers to meet us at the boat tree at lunch where we used to smoke bow. Before gang banging, we had strong black families. And one in particular on the West Coast was the Macons. Man, there was a bunch of them. But the cops hated big black families back then. They were locking them up, murdering Masons. And they had different families. Now, they weren't the only one. But they was the most prominent one in San Bernardino. If you mention the Macons, nigga, everybody knew the Macons. I knew the Salone, Stevie Salone, and them. We was cool. They showed love to me. But back to gangbanging, what happened was when the welfare age came in, and they started helping women and children, and not black families. They were just helping women and children, forcing the black man out the house. It started breaking down the families, and the families like the Macons, big families like the Rideouts, big families like the Jennings and Hammonds together. These big families were slowly breaking down by welfare. Welfare was a good idea, but you should have helped the whole families. But you ran a plantation with welfare. And then that's when gangbanging started slipping in. But because we had babies' mamas and babies' daddies, and we had women having 6 babies from 6 different men, because they knew more babies, more checks. But if you get a man, no check. So the women get hip. They got hip. So they just start having babies' daddies, brothers in and out. You never know who's going to be your mama's boyfriend the next day. They putting hammers on their head. And so gangs really did help little kids like me, because I was a runaway. I was running away from an abusive mom, an absent dad. So about the time I'm 14 years old, y'all heard my story. I wanted to kill my mom. But instead of doing that, because I did have respect for her, I jumped out the window. Now, when I went to Ike, I had already went to Myers and Rialto Elementary. So everybody knew me when I got to the high school. You know what I'm saying? And at that time, there was none but bloods in Rialto. None but Bloods. So the Playboy Supremes was started at a Blood school. The 5th Street Bloods. Remember, then it was Meridian Street Bloods. Then it started changing, to different stuff. But the day I became a Crip, when I woke up, I didn't know nothing about Cripping. I didn't know no Crips. I didn't even want to be a Crip. I wasn't gangbanging. We were just regular brothers in the street. We wasn't set tripping then. You know what I'm saying? But when he hit me up, and these guys at the school, they used to bully me when I was little. But then we was cool now. But this was my chance to get some get back. Sorry about that, Ron Gray. Sorry about that, Donnie Jury, Al Jury. Sorry about that, Howard Bell. Sorry about that, Michael McCall. The whole family McCalls, Kevin. And Daryl McCall. I think Mike's dead now. You had the Matthew family. Richard, JJ, Chucky, rest in peace. Peanut. I know that they know I'm calling names, legendary names, in Rialto, right? I'm leading somewhere. I didn't go to school to join a gang. And when I never joined a gang. You don't join a gang. Anybody that join a gang usually get taken down through there and took advantage of. When you really a gangbanger, you are recruited. And most of the time, you're like 12 to 14. I was 14 when I was recruited. I didn't gangbang because I wanted to. I really gangbanged because I had to, because I was homeless. I was in the Glenwoods living from house to house. In the ghettos, they was very welcoming to me. The ghetto welcomed me. And when I was a homeless, young teenager in the Inland Empire, the streets took me in. They fed me. But I had to put in work. I had to do dirt. You weren't just going to eat for free. I had to learn to steal. I had to learn to shoot. I ain't had to learn to fight. That was already in right out. It's in my blood. You know what I'm saying? But gangbanging, it was a plague on our people. And it evolved itself into the point where it was black culture. Which are black culture. We don't have a culture. We don't have a culture. But gangbanging did supply me security. It supplied me support system. It provided me protection. And it provided me a sense of brotherhood. Because I was alone out there on them streets. You know what I'm saying? You could get taken advantage of if they were outnumbering you. So, I linked up with them, yeah. And the massacre started. We was young. We was dangerous, too. They had to get the NAACP in it. The first Crip gang in Rialto. And then it spread it. Man, I was over in San Bernardino at the Inland Center Mall. I seen this dude. He was like, Playboy Supreme, fool. I was like, dang, this thing's spreading quick. That dude don't even know me. He don't know I'm one of the dudes that started it. I ain't saying nothing. I just keep on going. It spread like wildfire till it was out of control where you didn't even know who started it. People just claiming it. And gangbanging came to the IE about 78 because a lot of guys in the Long Beach and in LA, they was getting locked up. And their prisons and their youth systems was getting too filled. So they was banning them from LA. Like I got banned from Redlands for life. They were banning them from LA and they was sending them into the IE. They was fled to the IE and they were young and they were bringing the gang violence and they was bringing the gang activity and spreading it. And that's how we got it. But even though we was Crips in 1978, the Crips did not accept us in L.A. We were considered wannabes. We were suburban Crips, quote unquote. Either way it goes, as a former Crip, as I got older, and I realized the mayhem I caused, and I realized the destruction I caused, and I landed here in Alabama on the run from the police. I came to Alabama a wanting man. My wife and his family her family got me in trouble. I'll tell you about that later. But years passed, and there was no Crips or Bloods in Huntsville, Alabama in 1987 when I came here. When Colors came out and Boys in the Hood, it was on. And then they looked at me and said, oh, that's what that California brother was on. They didn't know my flavor until the movies came out. But I saw these boys come out to movies. Crips and Bloods fighting from a movie. Now the church and the political parties were thinking, oh, this is just nothing but a wave. It's just a fad. They just faking. And them mugs start smoking each other. And I realized, even though they wasn't Crips from L.A., even though they wasn't Bloods from L.A., the body count was real and the bullets were real. They just didn't have the body count that we had out there because it's smaller here. But these boys start set tripping here in Huntsville, and I start giving them respect. So what I did to counter gangbanging, because I knew that the whole problem and the key of gangbanging was fatherlessness and sad fathers. And that happened because of welfare. The government, how they applied it, not because they applied it. They were supposed to help us. We coming out of slavery, we needed help. We was in the civil rights era, man, stuff was still jumping off. We needed help. But y'all just helped black women and children like slavery. Switch the man out like slavery. When welfare came in, they said just help the women and children. Switch the man out, which brought the gangbanging age. The baby's mama's age, the baby's daddy's age, and the mother and father and the big families. Like back in the day, before gangbanging, if you had a fight with somebody, man, you gotta fight their cousin, their uncles. You fought a family. But when the families got disseminated and destroyed by welfare, then you had to fight gangs, and you'd have to be related to be a gang. I started an after-school program in Huntsville, Alabama to curb gangbanging and bring the fatherhood back to our neighborhood. I had 37 fatherless kids. Well, we had 2 of them that had fathers in our after-school program. So all around the world, the same song. From Chicago to Chester, Pennsylvania, to San Bernardino, Rialto, California. All the way down here to Huntsville, Alabama. This fatherlessness is contributing to the delinquency of the black family, and it's detrimental to the black family's health. This is why Charleston White, he really doing the right thing. He just going about it in a relentless, crazy way. But I love it. I'm sick. Call me sick. I love it. So I shout out to Charles White. Hope you watch my video, because I want to get at you. Because I want to join you. Because I want some bodies on mine. But I'm about child rapists and pedophiles, because I was a product of child rape and child abuse. I got a brother doing life for capital rape. And so, gangbanging became a fad later. It made you look good. And then also, these babies, daddies, these boys who didn't have no big brother, they were prime suspects for gangs to come in and recruit them. So gangbanging, which really is a culture in California, is not a fad. This is a way of life. The only people who could stop it is not the government, because they don't want to stop it. It fills their prisons, and not your city, because you got city jails and they get money for that. The only people who could stop gang banging is fathers, black fathers. We can no longer look to the government. We can no longer look to our city officials. We can no longer look to politicians to solve our problems in our neighborhoods. It's time for black fathers to stand up and be recognized and be known. Black fathers, or it ain't gonna stop. It won't stop. But I gotta say, it's a plague. I did my part. I tried. I started after school program. I had it for about good 3-4 years strong before I had back surgery. Like I got back surgery now. I might be down for about 2-3 months. It was major. But like I told y'all, when I get off, like Charleston White is going after these gangbangers, and I help him. Nigga, I'm going after you child rapists, especially in our Christian institutions. And I start at home. I was a Seventh-day Adventist. I'm starting at home. I was a Seventh-day Adventist. I'm starting at our Seventh-day Adventist institution and one of the biggest. And I started 30 years ago. Oakwood Church and Oakwood College in Huntsville, Alabama. Beware, parents that sending your kids. Demand that you get your money's worth or take your kids out to school. Because Oakwood is no longer a Christian institution. Dr. Leslie Pollard is running the school into the ground. David Richardson, this is happening under your watch, Dr. Richardson. Sabrina Cotton, this is happening under your watch. One more thing. God's going to visit your campus soon. So what I'm saying, back to what I'm really talking about. Gang banging, I gang banging, not because I wanted to, because I had to. It was a way that I could eat. It was a way that I could sleep. And it was a way that I could get around. But gang banging is a plague, y'all. I don't care if it's in Rialto, Chicago. We killing each other. We kill each other. 800 will drop this year, at least in Chicago this year. And the mayor is fighting immigration. California, you could get shot for wearing the wrong color and not even being a gangbanger. Just be in the wrong spot with that color and shit would happen. Gangbanging is a plague to our nation. And it's the #1 killer. And these rappers, they not helping. They're glorifying this stuff. And they're making our children wannabes instead of gonna be better. Just as a little something for the people out there that about gangbanging and my history with gangbanging as a former gang member. I know they said blood in, blood out, but I take that. I'm covered by the blood of Jesus. And you don't have to be a Christian. You don't have to be a Muslim. You don't have to be none of that to be covered with the blood. I ain't no Christian. I ain't no Muslim. I ain't no Catholic. I am not affiliated with any world religions or any of the organized religions anymore because they are devils. They are they are satanic in nature, satanic in origin, and they don't do nothing but cause division and get people's money and control them. And they're hotbeds for pedophilia and child rapists, the leaders. So check this out. Just a little something for the people out there. Just a little something about gangbanging and how I got into it and how I got out of it. I got a lot of homies dead, but I got a lot of homies still living and they doing positive things. Shout out to you, Ricky Powell. He was one of the original 4 in the Playboy Supreme that became a father, and he's doing right. Shout out to Richard Matthews. They was Bloods, but they crossed over and tried to get this thing right. They crossed over to reach their hand to Crips like me and try to make this thing better and peaceful. You know, these are some of the stories that I'm going to be bringing on Side Notes. But when I get off this bed, y'all gonna think I'm vengeful. Y'all gonna be able to call me an angry black man, because I will be. I'm gonna be able to fit every stereotype. Because when I get off this bed, I'm a spare not. Neither am I have pity, so Ronald Lang, beware. Watch him. Watch out for him, y'all students. Leon Bradley, beware. You had your wife since she was 13. Still at Oakwood. Had her since she was 13. And he was her academy teacher. All y'all, I'm going relentless, and I don't care. Thanks for that. Hey, remember, falling is a lot like flying. Till you hit the ground, so keep your head up. Peace.